Hey guys, it's Fancy, and you're watching the Good Vibes Network here on TikTok. And I had some comments come in to our YouTube channel, and I would like to address this one specifically. So we're going to break it down into pieces, and I'm going to respond. And this one's coming from Malea's mom. And if we don't make it all the way through Malea's mom on this one, we'll make sure to get another one for part 2 if it doesn't get answered in the first part. So we're going to take this one by one, all right? Are you mad that you didn't get to tell the story? You come across unhinged and mad that you aren't making enough money off of this. So, hello, love. We're going to break this down piece by piece since clearly you wanted my attention really bad. And I don't think you understand. Lots of people got paid, but not me. And I couldn't be more proud of that because I didn't accept blood money from Mike Stanfield, Christy Blanchard, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Rod Blanchard. Hey, Rod, did the cookie lady get the $10? I know you were super worried I didn't pay you that one time. Or was it the fat, lazy wife that robbed you of that hard-earned dough, Daddy Pimp Juice? Or the serial unaliver's daughter, who somehow turned all of this into another series for her, where she exploits her father's victims, again, for what? Oh, that's right, profit. Thanks, but no thanks. Any money I make is hard-earned, and I did not unalive someone to make it, so I sleep just fine. So, Miss, you punch me, I punch 10 times harder. Well, this was 100 times harder because it's the cold, hard truth that Gypsy Rose Blanchard murdered her mother, Dee Dee, in cold blood, violently, and with malice. The end. And it is not so 10 years ago. It's today. And Gypsy, the word you are looking for, I'll be happy to say it to your face on any stage, any platform ever, if you'd care to step into an interview where real questions could be asked. Pimp Juice didn't mind, so let's go, baby. So moving right along through your question here, let me continue answering. Can we first talk about the inciting incident of the 1Q21 micro deletion in February of 2011? Hey, Dr. Steele and Beckerman, I have some serious questions for you. And Melissa, can I please see the bone marrow transplant? Because I have way serious questions about that. And we just like to know the truth, it being such a rare anemia diagnosis and her getting unnecessary transplants and chemo. You know, it's really funny. Mike, you couldn't sue them, but you definitely found time to sue me. I bet so many doctors are curious on that one. Hey, did you guys Google Marie Charcot tooth syndrome yet? No? Weird. Okay, continuing on with what Malea's mom had to say. Personally, I think it's time you move on to something else. Gypsy did her time. Nick is doing his. End of story. Nick knew right from wrong, regardless of what you say. And before you try telling me I'm wrong, I have 2 children with autism, and I work with children with autism daily. Yes, there are varying degrees of autism, but Nick isn't slow as you like to portray. Okay, love. So we're going to move on to that point, shall we? I'm not going anywhere. Not you or anyone else can make me, because it is my absolute freedom of my First Amendment rights every time I speak on the actual real evidence in this case to do so. This isn't conjecture or sheer opinion. These are legal pieces of evidence in a murder and fraud case, and you have no right to tell anyone to move on. And you say you have 2 children with autism. Would one of those be Malea, that you are so wonderfully including your child unwillingly in your nonsense? And you work with children with autism daily. Well, that's very admirable, but do your children and those parents know you support someone that called them autistic little buttercups without real disabilities? But thank you for reminding me of that. We have those screenshots from her first failed attempt at YouTube. I feel for the people that you care for with that outlook. Yes, you're correct. It is a spectrum for a reason. And while you labeled Nick as slow, I did not. I labeled him as highly intelligent because He is, but he has a processing disorder. And since you have autistic children and work with them every day, I would expect you to know what that is. Nick had a social and developmental diagnosis of that of a 12-year-old, 12 to 13-year-old. Now, not meaning he is slow, but he is hindered in interactions with others. Gypsy Rose is a sexual deviant who fleeced men on the internet for money. Just ask her obedient servant. Did he know right from wrong? Yes. But if you believe Gypsy's story, then you would know that he was trying to protect a woman from such severe abuse. But somehow his understanding of right and wrong is being questioned here. Be so for real. And so you continued your diatribe with, oh, and I know you will delete this because that's what you do. Instead of allowing people to speak on their opinions, it's either follow what Fancy says or hit the road. You act like something that you do is going to change the outcome. The detectives did their job and don't need armchair detectives to bog them down with unhinged theories. Anyway, that's my opinion. Too bad it will be deleted. No. I didn't delete it. Now we come to the last part. And hey, honey, I don't just delete comments because I don't want people to speak their opinions. That's not true at all. However, may I ask you what that opinion is that you are attempting to express, because you provided no facts, no evidence, no research, no questions. Instead, your first sentence is to attack me. And love, I don't even know who you are, so that seems like a you problem and not a me problem. A disagreement or a debate would need to have some shred of a point, talking points, evidence, documents, and not the antics of the one lie to live soap story cast. I don't act like like something I'm doing is going to change the outcome. Something I'm doing along with others did change the outcome for the truth and the facts of this case. Kendall Grant said, along with Brandy Jolly, by the way, saying your name is not doxing you again, and I'm sure you'll have lots to say about my life, won't you, Brandy? But you said that I affected the whole world with my lies and nonsense about the medical records, right? And guess what? I did. Because what I saw in there and what the world will be seeing is the truth. And the truth is that Dee Dee Blanchard was never diagnosed with Munchausen by proxy. She wasn't ever counseled for it. She wasn't, her medical records were not reviewed. Gypsy's medical records were never reviewed to see if she was. Gypsy was never removed from her care to see if she got better. None of those things happen, and those are all criteria for diagnosing Munchausen by proxy syndrome, factitious disorder upon another, or imposed upon another, or what I like to call it, along with several people that are trying to get the information about this kind of disorder out there in the right way. It's called medical child abuse. And there's a reason for that, because it either is or it isn't. And it's very clear in a court of law what is or isn't. And I can tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion, allegedly, for entertainment and educational purposes only, that trial for Dee Dee Blanchard and Munchausen by proxy, it wouldn't have gone anywhere. However, the one that should have been lodged against Gypsy Rose, the world will never know, right? So you addressed this thing about me deleting people. And you know what? Here's the thing. I would never let anyone come into my home and disrespect me or anyone in my home. So why on earth would I let you do this on my social media platforms? I don't know you at all, don't recognize your name, and yet you have already made a whole lot of judgments on me. If you had made your post about an actual piece of evidence, I'd be happy to discuss it all day, and my friends and I disagree on things all the time. However, at least we are discussing actual pieces of evidence. You are mad because I exercised the right to remove people I don't feel I need to interact with for bashing me on my front porch. Why do you think block buttons and delete buttons exist, sweetheart? For this very thing. I can have your comment removed because I want to, but generally what happens is YouTube flags them, like this one, for what you say. And I can choose to allow some, and I can choose to report them, and I do. Period. The end. Watch for part 2. I have one last thing to say because you talked about the detectives, and I'd really like to address that. Have a good one from the Good Wife, serving up true crime, one dish at a time. Bye, guys, and thanks, Malea's mom, for the questions.